Welcome to United Report, your daily hub for all things Manchester United, from transfer news and match updates to exclusive stories. We've got you covered. If you're a true Red Devil, hit subscribe and join the United family. Glory, glory, Man United. Marcus Rashford's Barcelona dream may just be alive again. In a major twist, top target Nico Williams has rejected a move to Camp Nou, opening the door wide for the Manchester United star. With Rashford already hinting at a switch to Spain and Barcelona now desperate for a new attacker, could this be the move that reignites his career? Let's break it all down. Marcus Rashford's chances of moving to Barcelona have been improved after Nico Williams sensationally turned down a transfer. The Athletic Bilbao star was strongly linked with a switch to Catalonia this summer. Barcelona had identified him as a prime target this summer, with it being revealed that they were considering paying a 50 million release clause written into his contract. But the move is now off the table after Williams put pen to paper on a stunning new deal with his boyhood club. Williams, 22, has signed a new 10-year contract with Bilbao that will extend his stay with the club until at least 2035. The fresh deal has also seen Williams' release clause rise by 50% to around $75 million. Speaking after his new contract was announced, he said, "When decisions have to be made, for me, what weighs most is the heart. I'm where I want to be, with my people. This is my home. Alpha Athletic." Meanwhile, Bilbao have even sweetened the deal by offering Williams the club's iconic number 10 shirt. Speaking about the switch, he said, "It looks great. Love it. It was Muniain's number. I asked him for it. I'm proud to get this number 10 shirt from Muniain and to make history as he did." And while Barcelona will be left frustrated by the news that Williams will not be signing for the club, it might see them look at alternative targets. Manchester United star Marcus Rashford has already been linked with a move to Spain. United Chiefs expect Rashford to leave on loan this summer after his fallout with Ruben Amorim. A move to the Premier League also appears to be off the cards, with Rashford ruling out a switch to London while he does not want to take a cut to his lofty wages. And speaking recently, he hinted that he would be open to signing for Barcelona. Asked if he would like to play alongside Lamine Yamal, he said, "Yeah, sure, everybody in the world wants to play with the best, so hopefully we'll see." When asked about a switch to Barcelona, he cheekily replied, "We'll see." Rashford added, "Spain is nice, not too far from home. If I train here for a long time, it's good, because my family can come and see me for a few days. It's only a 3-hour flight. The weather is nice here." Rashford has 3 years left to run on his contract with Man United, but he appears to have no future at Old Trafford, so long as Amorim remains in charge. Manchester United are doing everything they can to land Bryan Mbeumo, but getting a deal over the line has never been easy. Brentford's technical director Lee Dykes has revealed the insane story behind how Mbeumo first joined the Bees in 2019, involving a private jet, 43-degree heat, a failed first meeting, and a terrifying flight through snow and lightning. Now, with United's 60 million bid rejected, can they finally get their man? Let's dive into this dramatic transfer saga, past and present. It's not easy getting a deal for Bryan Mbeumo over the line. Just ask Brentford technical director Lee Dykes. The Cameroon star remains at the top of Manchester United's wish list as Ruben Amorim strives to pep up his forward line following a dire season at Old Trafford. United have seen several bids, including a 60 million offer, rejected, but remain hopeful of getting their man, having already snared Matthias Cunha from Wolves. Brentford signed Mbeumo from French side Troyes in 2019, although their pursuit of the striker was far from straightforward. It was a big moment for Dykes, who had recently joined from EFL side Bury. "I felt big pressure because I walked into a function where I was trying to take forward some of the good work that had already been done," he told the Bees website in December 2023. Coming into Brentford, I'd never really spent a lot of money. I'd always worked at League 1 and League 2 level. The most I'd spent was £50,000 on a player, and then 6 weeks later, we are paying $5 million for Bryan Mbeumo. So obviously you start to think, wow, this is big money. But at the end of the day, it's just different money, same process. Dykes, co-director of football, Rasmus Ankersen, and head coach Thomas Frank made a whistle-stop trip to France in an effort to complete a deal on Mbeumo, only for those initial talks to come to nothing. "We were figuring that there was a possibility to sign Bryan," said Dykes. "We had cleverly sourced that information, having been told that he wouldn't entertain the championship. It became quickly apparent that we had to get in and out of France in a day, as Thomas Frank had his training commitments because it was near to the season starting. Where the meeting was going to take place, there was no airport close enough we could find from London or a route to do in one day, so we didn't know if we could make it work. I remember Rasmus just calling me up saying, 'I spoke to Matthew Benham, club owner, and he said he'll fire up a jet and we'll get over there at that point.' I was just thinking, wow. But that's when I started to feel the pressure. I'd lined it all up with Troyes, as well as the agents that were involved, so me, Thomas and Rasmus got on this jet. We got there, it was one of the hottest days of the year. It had reached about 43 degrees Celsius when we landed. It was a 60-minute journey, and the air conditioning wasn't working in the taxi we got in. We had the meeting, spoke with the player, the club and the agent, but the deal broke down. So, I had convinced everyone to fly over to France to get this deal done. I thought it was going to get done, but it had broken down. A bad day then got even worse for Dykes before a deal for Mbeumo was eventually revived. He added on the way back, and I'm not a good flyer in general. The pilot turned to us and said, "It's chaotic weather in London, it's snowing, there's thunder, there's lightning." I was thinking, what? It was 43 degrees when we left France, and the journey back was horrendous. I could see the pilot avoiding the dark spots on the radar. I was bricking it. But fortunately, we landed safely, and more importantly, managed to turn around the deal a few days later and eventually sign him. So Brentford fans must know that I risked my life to sign Bryan Mbeumo. It's one of the wildest transfer sagas of the summer. Victor Gyökeres, who looks set for Arsenal, has now made a dramatic U-turn. The Swedish goal machine wants a reunion with Ruben Amorim, and Manchester United are suddenly in pole position. But with Sporting demanding 86 million and United needing to sell, can this reunion actually happen? Let's break it all down. Victor Gyökeres has put Manchester United into pole position for his signature. The Swedish hitman has U-turned on making Arsenal his priority, reopening the door on a reunion with Ruben Amorim. Gyökeres, 27, is at the heart of the summer's messiest transfer saga. He is desperate to leave Sporting Lisbon, having scored 54 goals in 52 games last season. Gyökeres wants to test himself in one of Europe's biggest leagues, but hasn't found clubs rushing to knock down his door. Sporting insist they've not had any offer put their way, while club president Frederico Varandas has accused the player's agent of falsely claiming the club would accept 59 million to sell the player as part of a gentleman's agreement. The Gyökeres camp believes Sporting are asking too much money, with claims they're asking for fees totaling 86 malmés for a player who has scored 97 goals in 102 games since moving to Portugal from Coventry City 2 years ago. As such, there's been a major falling out among the two parties and claims that Gyökeres won't return for pre-season. But Gyökeres isn't getting the interest he perhaps felt he would this summer. He turned down the prospect of a move to Saudi Arabia last month. Al Hilal made a 55 centimetre offer that was rejected by Sporting, but Gyökeres made clear he had no intention of moving to the Middle East, wanting to continue to compete in Europe. Real Madrid have made clear they don't want to spend big money to take him to the Bernabeu, as they seek a backup number 9 in the mould of former striker Joselu. Liverpool have been linked in recent days, but the Premier League champions have no interest in the Swede. Juventus have been linked, but the Italian side aren't flush with cash, and no bid has been forthcoming, while Bayern Munich have Harry Kane and Paris Saint-Germain boss Luis Enrique isn't keen, nor is his former club Barcelona. That has left Arsenal and Manchester United front and centre, and the belief had been that Gyökeres' number 1 choice was a move to North London. The Gunners can offer Champions League football and a likely title challenge next season. But while new sporting director Andrea Berta has been testing the waters with the Gyökeres camp and Sporting, Arsenal's preferred number 9 option is RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko. A 60-man positive deal is, at this stage, most likely for Arsenal and the RBL forward. As such, Gyökeres is increasingly aware that his best bet this summer may be to reunite with former boss Amorim, and intermediaries have made contact on the player's behalf to signal he is ready to join the Premier League underperformers. However, he may have to play a waiting game with United too. Matheus Cunha is already through the door at Old Trafford, and Bryan Mbeumo is expected next, but United must offload before they can spend big again. United are open to selling pretty much any member of their first team squad if the right money is offered, but they're particularly keen to quickly get rid of Alejandro Garnacho, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho, none of whom are part of Amorim's plans. They're hopeful that Real Betis will present an acceptable offer for Antony sooner rather than later too. Then, United will be back pushing to land the number 9 that has been earmarked after last season's dire campaign. And Gyökeres is finally ready for that to be him. After being exiled by manager Ruben Amorim in December, he has not had a look in since, which prompted him to secure a loan transfer to Aston Villa. Despite scoring 4 goals and adding 6 assists under Unai Emery, Amorim is adamant the English winger will not be a part of his plans at Old Trafford and is even willing to leave him behind from the squad's pre-season tour. Man Utd want to sell and have set a price tag of around 40 million to suitors, with the likes of Newcastle and Barcelona linked. Rashford, 27, has made no secret of his desire to leave, and last weekend openly spoke about the prospect of playing for Barcelona and alongside wonder kid Lamine Yamal. He discussed a position change to suit the Camp Nou outfit's needs and was full of praise for Yamal, saying it's difficult to put into words what he's doing because he's not supposed to be doing it at 16, 17. He's playing at the highest level. I don't think we've seen it. To have his mentality is a skill. Below, we look at the tactical details behind the potential transfer of Rashford to Barcelona and why both clubs and Yamal can all benefit from the deal. One of the most consistent strengths of Rashford's game has been his movement and ability to make decisive runs beyond the last man and to attack the space behind the opposition defensive line. When Rashford first came through at Man Ut under Louis van Gaal, he often played as a more dynamic centre-forward option. Gradually, however, Rashford moved over to play from the left of the attack, and in these areas he became less dangerous when breaking the line through movement. If Rashford were to move to Barcelona and play as the central striker, his movement in tight spaces, combined with the way he can explode from a standing start, will offer real value for Hansi Flick's side. This is especially true with Yamal playing from the right side of the attack. Despite only being 17 years old, there is a very real argument to be made that Yamal is one of, if not the best, player in the world. His vision and ability to find a pass when cutting inside on his left foot would be ideal in releasing Rashford. While Lewandowski has been one of the top strikers in football across the last decade and a top physical specimen, he has lost a yard of pace and sharpness, and his ability to make runs and create separation quickly has declined. The quality of his runs and movement is still there, but the athleticism to keep up with his brain has faded. This is where Rashford could make a lot of sense for Barcelona. His explosiveness and ability to make line-breaking runs would enable Yamal to make these passes with confidence. Rashford can create immediate separation from defenders and take advantage of his passes. His extra athleticism on the last line could be a crucial detail for Barcelona in their bid to retain the La Liga title and win the Champions League. Barcelona have a long-standing tradition of being extremely greedy with possession of the ball. Under Flick, they play an extremely high defensive line and look to force the opposition into deep defensive blocks. This does, of course, carry some risk in terms of leaving space that can be attacked, but they also dominate the ball in the final third and create opportunities to break into the opposition area. However, this means they have to find ways to break down the opposition. In order to do so, there are points Barca will cross from the wide areas, either through Yamal on the right or through Rafinha on the left. Lewandowski has always been good from these positions, thanks to his sharp brain and quick movement, but once again, his declining athleticism has led to issues. Rashford has long been underrated for his ability in the air and his movement to attack crosses into the area. He reads the flight of the ball well, and his jinking movements will often unbalance defenders as he moves one way before cutting and attacking at a different angle. The forward will often make long runs from deeper areas, knowing the angles to attack the space in the opposition penalty area. These runs tend to be at a higher speed and intensity, and as such, it can be exceptionally difficult for defences to defend them. One thing Rashford had definitely appeared to struggle with in the past was playing with his back to goal when playing centrally. His explosive pace and curving runs are anathema to a target man-style centre-forward who can bring teammates into play around them. In his younger days, this might have been put down to a lack of concentration or composure, but it was interesting to note Rashford referenced how he now feels more comfortable playing with his back to goal as a central striker. To succeed as the number 9 at Barcelona, this aspect of his game would need to be top dollar.